One of the most important and powerful frameworks for understanding relationship struggles revolves around this idea of attachment theory. Essentially, what attachment theory is, it's a theory that was developed by John Bowlby around how our different childhood experiences create a blueprint for how we relate in our adult relationships. Before I continue with this topic, my name is Eric Hammer, registered psychotherapist, and my purpose and passion is helping men struggling in relationships develop greater self awareness, self confidence, and to be able to engage in a way and have the relationships that they truly desire. So, again, getting back to this idea about attachment theory. So, this concept around our past experiences as a child and how this, again, creates this framework for how we interact and connect with others, in particular in our romantic relationships. So, based on Bowlby's studies, of these different interactions, there's been four specific attachment styles which have been classified. So the first attachment style is referred to as a secure attachment. And essentially what this refers to is this comfort in both one's own autonomy and being independent from somebody else, as well as a comfort in connecting emotionally with another individual. Another attachment style is referred to as anxious attachment style. And with this, the individual is going to be really preoccupied with this idea of closeness. And essentially, there can be a fear of abandonment. And so, again, any sort of distancing or situations in which there might not be necessarily as much closeness or more independence, this might create a sense of anxiousness in the particular individual. The next style is referred to as an avoidant attachment style. This particular individual would feel most comfortable in terms of being in this independent state and might really struggle with emotional closeness and perhaps even have this experience of being smothered or engulfed in some way. So again, you can see these sort of differences, right, between the anxious style of attachment versus the avoidant. The anxious really being preoccupied with getting closer with this emotional closeness, and the avoidant, again, having difficulties with that and really creating or wanting more distance and autonomy. And then finally, you have the disorganized attachment. And this is somebody who presents in a very fearful manner when it comes to relationships, where there is a hesitation and a conflicting sensation between coming together and creating more, again, independence and a very sort of disorganized and confused way of relating to others. So the good news with this is that these sort of attachment styles, they are adaptable. And so I think a really important concept, right, when it comes to this idea of attachment theory is number one, just being curious around, hey, what am I uh, sort of from a reflex standpoint? What feels like an automatic reaction when it comes to these different concepts in terms of my own relationships? Am I somebody who kind of fears that closeness? Am I somebody who really needs space? Am I somebody who feels comfortable both in being in this sense of togetherness and my own autonomy? What's sort of my natural response when it comes to my relationship patterns and my history? So again, just coming from a place, I think, of curiosity, right, when it comes to these natural ways of attaching to others. And again, in doing so, we can really look at our own history and look at our past relationships growing up, in our childhood, ways of relating perhaps to our parents, and what sort of feels natural to us in terms of our relating to others, and again, perhaps an awareness of our own history. So again, I think just that awareness and knowledge in and of itself can be a valuable tool in recognizing our own natural ways of being. And then the great thing about this type of work is, hey, it's adaptable, right? So the idea of trying to create what's referred to as an earned secure relationship. So if perhaps I have a style that might not necessarily be beneficial in terms of creating the intimacy that I want in a relationship, recognizing that, recognizing where I tend to go, and recognizing this idea of looking for this earned, secure type of attachment in which I can develop a relationship with others where I maintain myself, my autonomy, my independence within the relationship, but I've also got a sense of togetherness, of connectedness. And it's really, I think, a matter of trying to balance out this idea of the autonomy versus the coming together. And again, in recognizing the reflex in which I tend to move towards speaking with somebody about it, becoming aware, and then finally, in that awareness, creating options for how I want to behave in my relationship. If you have any questions or concerns, or if you're a man who's struggling in his own romantic relationship, feel free to reach out. I do offer a free initial 15-minute consultation. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to leave a comment below. Please check with a psychotherapist to make sure that this or any other information is appropriate for you. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.